Hey, listen, my name is Brad Hannon. If you're new here, we create content weekly to help you maximize your sales, especially in the health insurance space. If that's something that you're into, that adding to your bottom line makes sense to you, do me a huge favor. Go ahead and subscribe. We're going to keep pushing out content week after week to help you get better at the sales process. All right, so hey, you just checked out the greeting. We're digging deep into the 10 steps of the sales process. Last step was the greeting. What I want to go over with you now is probably the most important step, and I think that so many people miss it, and that is fact finding. So we bundled step 2 and step 3 of that sales process kind of into one here, and that is fact finding and gathering current plan info. The reason why I separated it out is because so many agents don't get the current plan info. What they do get in the fact finding is zip code and date of birth and naturally the stuff that you know that you need to quote. But we're trying to get into more of that. We're trying to get into we're trying to take that information, right? The current plan that they have, the interest that they have. We're trying to create an idea of what product we want for that client. We're trying to understand why that product, right? So that we can help the buyer understand why we selected that product. And then lastly, how are we going to present that product? That's why this is so important in the fact finding. If you don't have this info, you can't close. The importance of fact finding is that questions, okay, so those questions are going to keep you in control of the sale. So we always talk about maintaining control of the sale. You can't get, listen, at the end of the day, if the buyer is controlling the call, then who's selling who, right? You've got to maintain control. Those questions in this fact-finding section are going to keep you in control of the sale. The second thing is you cannot effectively close without proper fact-finding. I'm telling you, this is messed up more times than anything else for new agents, because what happens is we get somebody on the phone that's showing a little bit of interest, okay? We dive right into, okay, great, I'd love to get you some quotes. I'm so excited. I'm going to get a quote, right? I'm going to run my first quote. We get excited about that, okay, about getting the information to run a quote, generating a little bit of interest, but we forget to find out where they're currently at. So the thing that I, use to kind of relay this message to newer agents or agents that are just coming on board is, listen, you can't sell somebody something and know that it's better without knowing what they currently have, right? If I'm selling you, let's just say I'm selling cars, okay? And I've got a nice BMW over here, and I'm talking to my man over here who's driving a Rolls Royce, but I didn't know it, right? And I'm like, hey man, I don't know what you're driving, but this BMW is so much better. Man, this Honda Civic, this Honda Accord is so much better. And then all of a sudden you find out the dude's driving a Rolls Royce. It's kind of weird, right? We don't want to put somebody in a bad position because we didn't find out their current plan info. You cannot effectively close without knowing where they're at now, right? Without giving them somewhat of a comparison of what product you selected and why you selected that product. So I'm going to give you a line real quick that I use in almost every sales presentation. If I'm thinking with all my brain cells, I'm going to say this 9 times out of 10. Okay, and before I go into the presentation, I'm going to say something along these lines. Hey, Miss Betty, listen, and stole that one from Cody Askins. Love the Miss Betty. But hey, Miss Betty, we're going to go through the products that I sent you. You did get those quotes, right? Okay, awesome. So here's the deal, Miss Betty. I want you to understand what you have. Okay, I want you to understand the coverage that we're going to, and notice I'm kind of pre-closing this too. I want you to understand, we're going to go through this top to bottom because I want you to understand what you have, but more importantly, Miss Betty, I want you to understand why you have it. And that's going to eliminate so many barriers right out of the gate. So you're going into a presentation, we're going to talk about that stuff next, right? Product selection, quote, presentation, that's the next step in the sales process. But as far as fact finding goes, we're trying to find out what, why, and how. Notice what I didn't write on the board, and notice what I haven't talked about is the simple things like zip code, date of birth, height and weight. That kind of stuff should be automatic, right? We're getting that every single time in and time out, because you can't quote without some of it, right? But what we're not getting a lot of times, or what I find agents are not getting a lot of times, is what do they currently have? Hey, great, what's your current situation? One of my favorite questions to ask. What's your current situation? Keep it simple, keep it open. Right? If they need some help with that, okay, great. What carrier are you with? Oh, hey, great company. Understand that they've been in business a long time. A lot of my clients love that carrier. What are you paying? Right? See how I'm guiding that conversation? So we're trying to find, again, what product we're we going to quote them on. Okay, if we don't effectively fact find, we can't even get to the next step in this process, which is product selection, right? If we don't do a good job of fact finding, we're not going to know what product to select for that client, or what products, what mix of products. We're not going to know why, of course, because you can't know the why without the what. And lastly, we're not going to know how to present to that client. If we don't find out what's important to the buyer, what's important to that client, hey, listen, you've had that plan for a long time. You mentioned you had that plan for 7 years, okay? Obviously, there's something you like about it. What is it you like so much about the current policy you have? They're going to tell you everything. They're effectively going to give you all of the ammunition during this fact finding that you need to close. And so when I look at a lead, okay, in our CRM, we have the ability to transfer leads amongst agents. So what we'll do is, if let's say Joe agent has this lead, and I'm gonna help him close that sale, right? Hey, on my team, I'm gonna help you close sales. Now I'm gonna get on the phone for you, with you, right? So you can hear me do it first, and then you can do it. So hey, you need a good mentor, reach out. But listen, at the end of the day, Joe agent has this lead over here, okay, and he transfers that lead to me, and now I'm pulling up the lead in the CRM, I'm getting ready to call him, but there's no notes, okay? I'm going in blind. I'm going in with no ammunition. This is why you've got to take good notes. You've got to, again, the what product, why that product, how to present, all of that stuff should be answered in the fact finding. So if this is making sense to you, drop it in the comments. Would love to hear from you on your experiences fact finding. We're doing the deep dive into these 10 steps. It's been a blast, but I'm telling you, you've got to hit every single step, and there's no more important step than the fact finding. So nail this and close the sale. Hey, listen, maybe you're already following all the steps. You're already killing it. You made your first 6 figures in insurance. That's awesome. Let's take you to $250,000. Check out this video right here.